All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here we go, game number 2. After a little bit of a break there, not even really sure what the issue was, frankly, but we're back now. That's what matters. We got game number 2 here in this best-of-3 series. Empire up 1-0 over Effect now, on the verge of qualifying for the SkinCoin WCA LAN and also their bigger share of said prize pool. So Effect fighting for their lives now, coming from behind. We'll see how they make it happen. I'm BreakyCPK, joined by Skim once again. We got a Bane first pick from Effect.
Bane first pick. This is very Vega-esque in a sense.
Yeah,
we've seen Vega definitely be pretty much the pioneers of this Bane, sort of like first face pick, and I've seen a couple of teams also do run it as well, but you know, some of them not as good with it as Vega has been in the past couple of days. And once again, actually, Effect letting through the Miposhka Enchantress. Interesting choice for me because I don't necessarily think Miposhka's Enchantress was a deciding factor in that game, but I do think that it was a very dominant factor in the early game. And I'm curious why they let it through, and yeah, Empire immediately pick it up because, of course, when you have the opportunity to pick it up, why not?
They were able to get away with even a 4th pick Enchantress last game, remember? So they, but decided this time around not going to be not going to take that risk, getting it now with the 2nd pick. Also, the first pick Pugna though. This is a hero that's getting some attention here in this series. We mentioned last game, Effect actually picked it up with one of their first 2 picks. So it's going to be Empire's turn now, and then Doom, a pretty good or quick response even from Effect. The first thing I think about is obviously with the Devour, being able to devour the Enchantress creeps, I guess. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why they like the Doom pick here. And now you have the bans to follow. Broodmother going to be so far. But yeah, interesting.
Broodmother.
Well,
Yeah,
different start to this draft again here. I mean, I'm very intrigued by the drafting so far from these two teams in now the first game and now into the second game.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, yeah, it's I wonder now that, you know, Effect potentially just picked the Pugna last game this early because it was sort of like a counter pick to Empire, or maybe it's a counter pick from Empire to Effect. Either way, Doom definitely a hero that we've also seen sort of like crop back into the meta and right now in the past couple of weeks now, both in China but also CAS, a little bit in Europe as well, and I believe SCA as well. So this is definitely a hero that's sort of coming back into the meta. Like I said, it is sort of with the Devour. It can be a counter to the Enchantress, but it just provides you with some sort of like economic. He just farms basically as much as the Enchantress, if not more, in the early game, and that's actually very important because with the jungler on the other side, you could potentially lose the net with War. So this is a bit of a sort of like stabilizing factor, and interesting actually that they take up the Lich. Honestly, thought that Effect could have potentially gone for the Lich, though I wonder if potentially this is actually a 4-position Doom more so than an offlaner Doom. We've seen it sort of like played in both roles. I do think it's very potent in both roles, but I kind of want it as a 4-position. Now that I look at it, I do think it would probably be worth more in a 4-position more so than a 3-position.
Yeah. Setting up for the roam, getting that Doom effect in general against the likes of a Pugna. Most certainly a powerful ability to use this game. So Disruptor, going to be the 3rd pick for Empire. Kind of, we are seeing Effect was the team last game that ran a Pugna and a Disruptor even. So Empire themselves going to pick up both of those heroes earlier on, as well as the Enchantress, of course. Now Effect having to think about what they want to respond to that now. Of course, again, if you figure they have their 5 and 4 supports, needing their offlane, mid, and carry now to work with. But so far, not a lot given away from Empire. They definitely got a fair amount of reach on their side, I will say that, with the heroes that they have so far. Somewhat squishy, potentially, but of course Decrepify can help with that.
It really feels like this is basically somewhat of a revision of the last draft, basically, right? We have some heroes on that side, some heroes on this side. Effect going with Mirana now. I like this. It's a very good pickup. It's a very solid pickup in the meta right now. You have, you know, the best of both worlds with physical and magical damage on Mirana, which is pretty nice, and definitely something you want against the Pugna. But I also like very much that Team Empire sort of you know, from the last draft, I pointed out that they lacked a lot of sort of control in team fights, and they were pretty much reliant on a single hero. Now they have a little bit more control with the Disruptor, with the Pugna. So I very much like this approach, but in fact, a much more sort of, I guess it's more of a traditional approach. You know, you have the Bane, and then you go for the safe Bane Marana combo. That's just some sort of like very safe sort of like combo that you can run either in lane or in the mid game. That's something we've seen from Vega, of course. Very effective, even though it's sort of like an old combo. It's just very, very effective in the game still. So just singling out a target, being able to, you know, immediately burst him down with the arrow and then the Starfall, of course, is very strong here. And Bane already counters pretty much a lot of these heroes already. You know, it's a very strong pick against the Weaver, of course, because you do have that long range Fiend script if you have it. So that's pretty strong. But of course, I guess in a sense, you know, Weaver is going to pick up the Lincolns here.
Yeah.
So dealing with that Bane is not going to be that big of an issue. But I suspect that, you know, with Effect still having 2 picks, there's going to be a lot more crowd control. They definitely need more control here, some AoE control as well. If they wanted to go for the Void, I honestly think it would really be really strong in this game together with the Marana.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because that's the first thing that came to mind with that Weaver pick right there. Like you said, on paper, Bane should be a pretty good hero against the Weaver, even Doom with this Doom effect, but once Weaver gets to Lincolns, that all changes. That'll make him a very slippery hero and very difficult to stop. So yeah, getting some of that AoE control, as you mentioned, Faceless Void comes to mind. Earthshaker being banned, so couldn't go that direction even if they wanted to. You figure some other potential off lane or even a 3-position hero, or excuse me, 4-position heroes, depending on how they want to run the Doom, of course, to maybe help deal with that as well. Magnus perhaps comes to mind. It's all in on the RP idea, but could potentially be a thought of theirs as well. So we'll see what they come up with right here. But the 4th pick for Effect, it's down to 10 seconds of reserve time, so they're going to have to choose quickly.
Yeah, they're really putting a lot of time into this thought. It's not easy by any means. Like you pointed out, there are technically a bunch of heroes that you can pick, but a lot of them get countered by that single Disruptor pick. Even Puck gets countered by Disruptor, and it's very difficult to find a hero that provides you with sufficient crowd control that also obviously has high mobility, but that doesn't right out get cancelled or countered by the Disruptor. And there pretty much isn't a hero left, and I think Puck is one of the better choices. You know, you can play around. You have so much mobility that as a Disruptor, it can be difficult to really control you. So that's a really strong pick here. There's also additional burst damage, which is nice. The silence is actually really strong in this game. So I love this Puck pick. But again, I can understand why Effect have taken pretty much all of their reserve time, because this was not an easy pick to make.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, dipping into the bans now. One more ban to go before Effect going to choose their final hero. But yeah, going with the Puck. So, but with how it's shaping up, yeah, that's not the question. More of an offlane Puck, I would think, with Marana mid here.
Yeah, it's likely an offlane Puck and Marana mid. What they could do, although I don't hope they would, is, you know, Marana as a 4-position roaming together with Bane, and then have the Doom as the offlaner Puck mid. That is technically a possibility, and it would be a sort of like a very aggressive early game, sort of like duo, you know, the Bane Marana. But I think that's very much, or it's too dependent on those ganks to be successful. So I think that would be a bad choice. And well, that's a CIS pick for sure, Gyrocopter. Pretty much one of the most CIS carries that you could think of. It's not a bad pick here, I don't think, because he has a lot of physical damage. He can team fight with his team, which is very important because they have a pretty much mid-game aggressive lineup with, you know, Puck, Bane, Potom, Doom. So I love this, but at the same time, I think it's a bit vulnerable here as well, with the Weaver, with the Enchantress, and even with the Pugna to a degree. So we'll see how this works out. But I love seeing Gyrocopter. It's been a while since, you know, there was a time when Gyrocopter was the go-to carry for anybody. He's sort of fallen out of favor, and he's slowly creeping up here and there, but I love seeing him.
Yeah, this lineup definitely reminds me a lot of the last game, too, at least the idea that they want to have a strong laning phase into a early to mid-game really push here. Now last game, they had a weak laning phase, and it just so happened they were able to find some room, specifically with that Lena, so you never want to rely on that idea, though. Again, ultimately in a losing effort in the long run, but definitely going to be looking for the long start here, or the quick start, excuse me, at this point. Legion Commander going to be the final pick from Empire, so I'm just about to get into that as far as where they're going to go with their final pick. And so that means they're going to decide to run Chappie on the Pugna here in more of the safe lane, and FN will be on the Weaver. So, yeah, with that said as well, we didn't really talk too much about that, but FN is back, as we expected. Again, he was just sitting out for the first game there.
No, they're swapping it around.
They are swapping. Okay.
Yeah. There's no way you want to run the Weaver mid in this scenario. Weaver mid is not necessarily bad. I've seen it in high-level pubs as well. But, you know, Pogna mid just makes more sense. You want the rune control for sure. And Chappie just, on a Weaver just needs... I mean, you could run the Weaver mid, but then you need a certain item build. You probably need to go for the runes as well. So I think just having the Weaver safe lane makes more sense. And with this, I think pretty much the lanes as we expected. I want to say, with a Pog off lane with a Mirana mid and the 4th position Doom.
One thing I did notice about that draft again, and I believe it's the same thing the first game, Necrophos making it all the way through, and that's happened a couple of times in this event here. Necrophos.
It's funny. It's funny because the meta, if you were to not balance or to not patch the patch, if you didn't bring any updates, the meta would change by itself. That just always is always what has happened. Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree that Necrophos is pretty much one of the strongest heroes in this patch, maybe even too strong. But yeah, as you pointed out, there's no Necrophos pick in this game, and even if it is just for this series, it is definitely something I wouldn't be surprised to see as a trend going forward, where Necrophos slowly starts getting phased out by a lot of players, a lot of teams, and not even because anything changed, it's just because, you know, or not anything balance-wise changes, it's just because teams start playing the game differently after a while.
Start picking some heroes that are maybe, you know, a little harder on, at least in theory, kind of counters to him. You know, specifically this game, something like the Doom comes to mind. You know, that's always an option because of the Doom effect. You throw that on Necrophos, and all of a sudden, he's just a walking, you know, range creep to an extent. I mean, it can be difficult to kill, depending on the farm, of course, but you get the point there. It's definitely understandable, yeah, where maybe we do see a hero like that. I don't want to say he's phased out, but it's there's been some coincidences here this series and a couple of recent ones, at least in this event. But talking about the heroes we do have now, King R is going to start with the block here in the middle lane for Mirana, but it will be Mirana, of course, matched up against the Pugna here. Wait, so Chappie is on Pugna in the end. Okay, so FN will be playing Weaver, but they're going to be playing safe lane.
Yeah, they definitely want the Pugna mid. So no matter who's going to play it, they definitely want the Pugna mid. But yeah, both. I mean, we've seen this sort of like role swap in a sense a couple of times, depending on the heroes, of course, because some of these players feel comfortable on a variety of other players, other heroes, for example. Chappie's Meepo comes to mind. So whenever he plays Meepo, it's not all the time, but most of the time, it's going to be mid. So both of them feel very comfortable playing this lane, and it's sort of become a trend in a scene that, you know, carry and mid players can be interchangeable depending on the heroes.
What do we think about the Legion Commander final pick, by the way? Didn't really talk too much about that, but LC, the final pick for Empire right here, ending up in the off lane, of course. As, what is this about? King R just kind of walks right up. Is he going to die for this?
He should.
Oh my gosh. He got so greedy.
Zero armor Doom.
He literally walked right up. He was going to eat the troll creep, and Poshka did a fantastic job of netting him first, and it's like, no. I mean, even if you do eat it, you're going to take a lot of damage in return, and we saw the eventual first blood coming out. Oh boy, that's an awkward start. Anyways, back to the LC pick.
The LC pick, I think, is just very strong against the Bane, against the Mirana, you know, against those hard disables, being able to purge it off. It's actually pretty strong. And I think in the mid game, especially as well, you know, being able to sort of, for example, initiate onto the puck is going to be really important in ensuring that kill. Although, as I speak of it, Ghostic might fall here, and he does. Is there going to be a trade? Oh, he sleeps the wrong target.
Yeah.
Not sure that would have mattered anyway. Poshka, I'm sure, was ready to just take off the sleep of himself, but another kill. And another kill might happen mid.
Chappie, he's on the run. He's definitely in trouble, though. The Decrepify saves him a little bit, and the heal is enough to keep him alive in the long run. So he stays alive, and then the bottom lane, that's where that kill happened. As FN took out Mag down here. Somehow, okay, he did have support. Yeah, no, Disruptor's in the area. I was going to say a solo kill would be crazy from a Weaver there. But, well, we got plenty of action this game already. 3-1 hero kill start. All three lanes, really. But Mag is back and picking up more farm top lane. Speaking of that action, Miposhka, just like the previous game, continuing to be active. The Satyr Hadouken, a.k.a. the Shockwave, coming out and dealing more damage to the Bane. But just keeping them busy on this Enchantress.
Yeah, a lot of pressure pretty much on both sides. It's actually pretty interesting. And on pretty much every lane as well, like we pointed out. It's not easy for Mag to stand in this lane against both Disruptor and a Weaver. Weaver just is able to harass Mag quite a little bit, and then of course Disruptor with his controlled spells make it very difficult for Puck to even escape as well. But now that Puck has the Magic Wand, or well, soon the boots and the Magic Wand, that's gonna make it a little bit easier for him to sustain the lane. But yeah, this top lane is very interesting, and this is why you usually ban, or why teams usually ban Miposhka's Enchantress. Miposhka is able to create so much space around the map, or for a lane specifically, and as an Enchantress, it's really difficult to kill the Enchantress with 2 supports. Especially with the supports that affect half. They are unable to really zone out the Enchantress, and look at him. They're just watching him farm their camps.
Yeah.
They can't really do anything against it. They can harass him for sure, but they're never going to be able to kill him. Not without the help from Gyrocopter or the Mirana.
Yeah. And it's really a 1 versus 2 in that case, so he's definitely accomplishing more out of it. On the Enchantress side, top lane though, LC's in trouble. That Brain Sap, he pops a press attack over the turn kill. Hoping for some counter attacks. He's going to be nightmared up. And another Brain Sap happening in 5 seconds. Won't even need it. The shockwave coming out from King R from the Satyr that he ate. And
mid lane Chappie almost goes down as well.
Jeez.
Very close. Very, very close.
Nothing cannot finish it off though. He picks up the Arcane Rune. And he'll head right back into the middle lane. No bottle just yet. And Mirana's winning that matchup, 20-14 now against a 15-3 Pugna. So a lot of denies there even on Mirana's side. Really having good control of this middle lane. Maybe Enchantress should be focusing more attention on the middle lane this time.
Yeah, perhaps. I do think it was important to give the Legion Commander a little bit of space early on, or to get her a little bit of farming experience early on by zoning out this, the effect supports. But yeah, I do agree with you that Enchantress should probably divert her attention to the mid lane, and that's what she's doing. Though she has been scouted out by this one Dire Ward, and Alpha Ninja will not be caught out of position here. Or will he? He still walks uphill for some reason.
As he walks right into him, but don't think he's dying here. He'll arrow the creep.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
Whew. If Enchantress slowed her, I mean, that could have been close.
I don't know what Alpha Ninja was trying to do. He was trying to go to the shrine, of course, and you know, I mean, worst case scenario or best case, or yeah, worst case scenario, he still gets the creep, and he did. But still, if Miposhka has one more creep there, that could have been a kill.
Absolutely. Will enchant another Centaur though up at the top lane. Once again, Doom rotates. Seems like that's Doom's job, is focus on Miposhka and devour the creep that he picks up. He's going to go for that right here. And should be able to pick it. Yep, unless he gets stomped and maybe turn killed. He's going to eat the creep though. Puts on the Scorched Earth and trying to live right now. Elsewhere a kill happens. He throws out that Centaur stomp that he just took over. The final attack from Enchantress. Can he find him in the woods? Yes, he can. Gets the kill, but now Caustic going too far. The homing missile will finish him off, and Miposhka has to keep running. So we're going to run him down, and Miposhka will keep the distance. Going to kill Elsewhere. That was the bottom lane again going down.
This is a phase boots Enchantress. 6 minutes into the game, 4th highest in net worth.
Yes.
It was actually 3rd highest in net worth just a while ago as well. This is absolutely insane. Miposhka is just... It's just very annoying to deal with. Yeah, sure, maybe he cannot help the mid lane as much as they want him to or they need him to, but this is still very annoying. And if he gets his courier kill, in fact, yeah, he does.
Dire's courier has been killed.
He even avoids the arrow as well. He should survive this. With,
oh my god.
With this, for sure, he does.
Where are you going?
Pops the heals, and now Alpha 9 has to be careful. His sleep is down, they know this, but Doom's coming in. And he does have that Centaur stomp. So, gonna scare them enough to back off. But yeah, great pressure in the middle lane. You mentioned the courier code. Nothing was on it, right? Yeah, nothing on the courier, but...
Yeah, it already delivered its bottle, so unfortunately for Empire, or fortunately for Effect, rather, they do get that. But still, this is not great for Effect whatsoever. They're getting pressured in the safe lane. Sure, the Sidoi Gyrocopter still forms better than the Legion Commander, but in comparison to the Weaver, right? The Weaver is just out-farming pretty much everybody, I guess, except for Alpha Ninja. And they're killing the Puck as well, so Effect is pretty much not really winning a lane aside from mid. They're only winning mid, and then they're definitely losing bottom, and they're sort of like drawing top because they should be winning against this Legion Commander, but Miposhka is just making it very difficult for them to win that lane. So Empire, I would argue, yeah. If you look at the net worth advantage, they already had 2K in net worth almost without a tower taken. That is insane.
It was the same thing last game in the sense of F9. She was kind of the shining star for Effect. Last game on Lena. This game on Mirana. They're going to need him to be active here sooner than later.
Oh, the Bane's getting caught out of position. Kills.
Bane is going to try to run. He should be fine for now. Oh, call down's coming out in response. Gostic trying to get close enough. Doesn't have his duel yet. Still running after him. The rocket barrage from Gyrocopter, and now Enchantress has to be careful getting turned on. Not going to be enough damage, though. The heal comes out. Gostic, he's going pretty deep. There's more support running in, Mirana, in fact, included. And now Legion Commander is going to get caught between a rock and a hard place, and they also got Miposhka, so great rotation from F9.
Well, that's the big kill that they wanted. A bit greedy from them to try and go for that Bane. Unfortunately for them, the ward actually didn't scout out the Gyrocopter. I think if they had seen the Gyrocopter, they would have disengaged earlier. But that way, he was able to surprise them with his ultimate and then being able to turn it around as well. And of course, the rotation from Alpha Ninja sealed the deal. A good rotation as well with the DD, and that's just something Pugna can't do. Even if Pugna has a DD, what's Pugna really going to do in a rotation? So this is pretty good for them. But still, Empire's still in a really good position overall.
You see Weaver here cleaning out a massive stack with the assistance of Disruptor, so FN's farm really starts to shoot up, and he's got plenty of early build. He actually went the full power treads. This is it sounds weird almost being surprised by that, but whenever I see Weavers get boots, let alone full power treads, it's just I'm almost taken back because we're so used to the no boots build plenty of times.
Yeah, there's I think it makes a lot of sense in this game. The stats are pretty nice, you know, to farm with and to harass, and if needed, he can also be more active in mid-game fights. I don't know. I think there's merits to both builds, you know, to either not building the boots at all, or only building brown boots, or having the treads. I think in this game it sort of makes sense because, again, the attack speed is definitely necessary to help out in fights and accelerate the farm as well.
Yeah, if you're expecting more action early on in the game, with the way this game's going, definitely so, then perhaps that's where it makes the most sense. Nice lockdown on the Bane right here, by the way. And it's going to be the first duel victory for Gostic between Vanskor and Miposhka assisting. No chance really for Bane to get out of that one. So good catch there. And
this is a very important kill for them, and unfortunately for Effect, I believe Bane was heading out there to plant a ward, and he was unable to. So now, if you look at the map for Effect, they basically don't have any vision across the river. So they're pretty much playing in the dark. Yeah, they're smoking up now with Alpha Ninja and Arzik, but they're having to smoke into the dark pretty much. So I'm sure. Well, no, it's just difficult to gank a Weaver without any vision as well, right? You don't really see the Weaver just now, and you don't see the supports either. Yeah, you saw them top earlier, and you still see the Miposhka top, but where's the Disruptor? That's actually a really important question. And see how much time they're wasting effectively with the smoke because they don't see anybody on the map.
And they do not have any detection either if they were to go for that Weaver. Top lane, we have a big skirmish coming out. Meanwhile, Sadoi's going to barely get the kill on the LC, but at what cost now for him as in comes FN. Running with the Shikuchi, takes out the Gyrocopter right there. Going to finish off the tower as well. And Pug decided not to go with the Illusory Orb, definitely for good reason. But it might not matter in the long run. Mag, a couple more auto attacks, and FN, a beautiful rotation on his part. Ends up assisting in a couple, getting one right there, gets the tower kill. And now Chappie bottom lane, he's going to be arrowed, but they don't have enough damage, man. Yeah, you got to really fall back if you're Effect right here. That was pretty clear you were not going to be able to burst down a Pugna.
Well, this is just Effect sort of like trailing behind, and always being a step behind Empire, or Empire rather being a step ahead. Well, bottom lane, they're going to try regardless.
Gonna go again. This time he was started off with about half life, and that will actually be enough in the end. He had Doom even rotating over just in case. Not necessary there though, so the second time's a charm.
This is definitely a very important pickup for them. But again, the bottom and the Bane wasted a lot of time tying. Oh, top lane. Looks like they're gonna get the Gyrocopter again.
Disruptor, he takes the homing missile. He's gonna have to run here now as King R wants immediate revenge. Has that Doom if he wants to maybe just use it for a kill, but he can't even find him. And FN keeping them distracted as well. In fact, who's that rotating over? That would be LC. He has a duel ready to go. They're definitely going in right here. King R's in trouble. He's going to be dueled up, and that's going to be another duel victory for the Legion Commander in the long run. So chasing a little bit too much ends up backfiring there.
this comes back to the lack of vision. They have one ward, and that's in the enemy jungle. They spot the Enchantress, but that's it. They just don't see the supports. They don't see the rotations from Empire. They have no idea where Empire is, where they're sort of like playing around, or where they're rotating towards, and it's really difficult to respond to that if you don't really know where they are. The Bane has to support the Mirana down here because the Mirana otherwise couldn't farm, and then the Doom as a defensive like doesn't work as a defensive support. Even if he had been there for the Gyrocopter, what does he do outside of, well, I'm just gonna Doom somebody? So this is very difficult for Effect to play right now. They definitely need to get vision on the map ASAP, but it's so difficult really to get out. You can see Bane, or the way that Arzik is moving, it's difficult for him to actually find space on the map to place wards, even if he had some. Like, he doesn't even have wards on him. And now they dedicated 2 wards to the bottom lane, which, yeah, it secures the tower, but like those wards are going to become semi-useless after they get this tower as well.
King R, he gets glimpsed back, however, he's a little bit too far. Here comes that Trinkle. Big fighting happening once again. FN throws out the Storm, hits multiple heroes. Mag, he's chasing in the backlines. Doom is up on LC, by the way, preventing a duel. The life drain will finish off Doom, the hero himself. And now Chappie, though, he's caught in that call down. Puts on to Crepify, looking to turn right here onto the Gyrocopter. The arrow does hit Pugna, though. In comes with a Star Storm, so big timing from FN right there. But they're not going to be able to take him at Poshka. And FN is just cleaning up. He indeed is unstoppable. A double kill for him. A lot of exchanging back and forth going on, but no doubt you got to favor Empire at the end of that fight.
For sure, for sure. Although I think if you look at the gold change and experience change, it's somewhat even just because Effect is so far behind, so any kill they get is sort of more valuable than any kill they give away. But it's still very favorable for Empire, the fact that they survive obviously on the Weaver, and they survive even on the Poshka. Both of them would have been very high target or high value targets to get for Effect. Looks like Effect are trying to do something with the Moonlight Shadow. I like this. They do have the vision down here, so this is the area they want to fight in, and indeed they get the Disruptor kill.
This is a big chance on FN. The Fiend's gripped. If they get this, huge bounty time lapse. He could not use it. The lockdown was long enough. Man, that was going to be so close to actually escaping. But they manage it. That's a huge bounty kill for Sadoy, actually, on the Gyrocopter of everyone to get it.
Yeah, he got 800. He got, well, 600 gold out of this kill, 800 gold in total for his entire team. So these are really, really good pickouts, and this is them making use of those wards. Like I highlighted how those wards were gonna almost basically be useless after they take the tower, but of course they still were very valuable in that engagement.
We're gonna lose our Zeke meanwhile, but yeah, vision as always is gonna be a strong tool, and making use of it here. Very important kill coming out. So now Weaver to get some time to resurrect. He's back up now, though. Has Perseverance. He is very close to that Lincoln's already. Going to be an early one at that. Gostic, he's remaining run down. There's a tier 1 tower here, though. Still, you got to be careful. Press the attack coming out. Static Storm, Kinetic Field combo. Locking down Gyrocopter. Not really the best response, though. Maposhka, he is running in. Impetus attacks are dealing plenty. Now Chappie, the Nether Blast is going to miss. He'll put on the W, though, and it's going to be enough damage that to Crepify. Blank there for a second. Anyways, they get the kill onto Gyrocopter. In the long run.
Yeah, I have no idea what Effect's plan was there. Like they were posturing as if they were trying to like fight mid, but they weren't in position to respond on like Mag and the Bane as well. So that was a really awkward position for them to be in. I think they maybe got a little bit overconfident of how the past couple of minutes have been going, and because they had that ward there, so they were like, well, we have the information here, but this is still fighting between a tier 1 tower and a shrine, so there's a lot of access points for Empire to get into that fight and take on Effect, and yeah, they lose both the Gyrocopter and a tower because of it. So these are the kind of mistakes and movements that Effect cannot afford to have happen because they're the team that are behind, right? So if they do want to go for something, they have to commit to it as 5, or at least commit to themselves in a position where they can feel 100% safe, and that certainly isn't between a tier 1 tower and a shrine.
And here we haven't brought too much attention to just yet, and probably for good reason, but Puck, he's trying his darnest to recover here, and considering the starting of this game and being in the off lane, the Blink Dagger is going to be all right here as far as the timing goes, I feel like. 17 minutes in, he almost has it. And with the Soul Ring, so going to definitely need that, though. The Dream Coil locked in, especially once that Lincoln's is picked up on Weaver, which, again, he just about has. All he needs is the recipe, and then he'll be good to go. Is going to be very effective from Effect here. Go figure.
It definitely will be, and I definitely think this is something that Effect is working towards, and which is why I think even more so that engagement earlier was so questionable. Oh, mid lane. They do have the sentry, it's just in range as well, so...
Well, they doom him up, press the attack coming out. They're going to glimpse, trying everything they can with the Static Storm and everything else, but Weaver, it's just going to be too much damage, so big kill for Effect once again, and they also catch LC, so... That's really key, because again, we just talked about the Lincoln Sphere almost finished. It's going to be delayed a little bit longer now, more room for Effect. Try to recover here. Middle lane, they're still going. Empire wants to fight this, though. They're going to bring back in Gyrocopter. Life Drain is going to be canceled pretty quickly. Got slept there. Now comes the Life Drain, though, and Gyrocopter is finished off. So, never mind. Was able to get it off. Doom, ooh, TP's out in their face.
Even though they give away that kill on the Gyrocopter, I still think, you know, that kill on the Weaver and the Legion, of course, were really, really important for them. This was a very favorable trade for them in the long run. This is a much better way of approaching these kind of ganks. They committed S4. They were very close to one another. They were able to immediately respond. Sure, they should have all retreated immediately, but still, getting those heroes, like you said, delaying the Lincolns is very important here in this game. And it buys them a little bit more time. It gets them a little bit more space and map control as well. As you can see, they have a couple of deep wards, and that one ward mid hasn't even been detected yet. So that one is paying dividends already. So, Effect, I think, getting themselves in a good position. They definitely need more items still, but once they have the blink on the puck, and now they do, I wouldn't be surprised if they smoked up again, try to force a fight, try to force a pick-off on somebody, because with blink silence, they can pretty much get anybody on Empire's side.
Pugna showing off his farm. Bots, Villa Discord, Aether Lens picked up. He has the Ags now queued up. Almost 1,000 gold more saved up once again, so he is doing very well. 9,100 net worth overall. Gyrocopter, he's going to be going for the BKB next on him. And then there's Marana, who's the second highest in the game, tops on her team. And there's the Manta Style now finished for Marana. So nice progress being made. Duel at the top lane, though. That's a kill and a puck. The Blink Dagger from Legion Commander with the assistance of Enchantress. More than enough damage to get that kill. And Weaver does have the Lincoln Sphere now. So now it's going to be a game of how does Effect get around this Lincoln Sphere. How many times are they going to be able to kill Weaver, if any, moving forward here? That is the big item.
If we look past, back on a couple of those kills that they have gotten on FN, or I guess those 2 kills in retrospect, I think if you had Lincolns back then, it might not even have died, because the initiation was very straightforward. You nightmare him and then you initiate into like a Fiend Scoop or something bigger. And that's just not going to be there if he has the Lincoln. So this is going to be definitely very difficult, and they'll have to coordinate both the Bane and the Doom. So going forward, this is definitely going to be, something that they have to look out for. And FN, I think, with this alone, he can play a little bit more aggressively in those team fights as well. And I don't know, it's just not going to be easy for them. But they do still have the puck, which is great. It's a great crowd control, especially if he goes for an Aghanim's later on, much later on. But we're still very far away from that, and Chappie might have to be the sacrificial lamb for Empire.
Well, Chappie, they're going. Doom is active. The sleep on LC in the backlands. Very good sleep right there. Static Storm, it's not going to be enough. Help save Chappie, of course, but maybe set up some turn kills, if anything. LC, he's going in. He'll duel up the Gyrocopter. RZ going to come in for the save with a Nightmare. It's not going to matter, but LC goes down. Gyrocopter gets credit for the kill, thus the winner for him. And Vanscore's also going to fall. What timing from F9 right there to come in on Marana. Obviously, Puck also assisting, but that was a huge turn for Effect. And now they're going to push Tier 2 bottom lane on top of this.
I've criticized Effect for fighting without vision, so I have to do the same to Empire. I think they felt overconfident because they got, what, a 3-man or 2-man Static Storm Static Field combo, and they felt, well, if we get them, we can immediately turn on them. But they fought in an area where they had no vision whatsoever. They could never really know whether or not support was coming in, so Marana was just able to come in there at the end there with a burst damage on top of the Legion Commanders. So just a very, I think, bad decision for Eric to take that fight. Maybe a little bit overzealous. And smart decision from FN to immediately just time-lapse out of there and just get out of there, because otherwise he could have been in a very compromising position as well.
And again, now Gyrocopter plus 14 permanent damage currently. Due to that victory, the BKB picked up on him now. Full 10 seconds, ready to go for Sadoi. So this seems like this is a spike moment right now for Effect. They got the BKB. I mean, Diffusal sure will be nice on Marana, but even just with the Manta Style alone, you have the Blink on Puck, of course. It's definitely a time for the next, like, 10 minutes or so, we'll say, where Effect really can start making some plays here and actually take control.
Especially now with the Blink on Doom as well. They have that mobility, the ability to basically get to that Weaver, for example, or get to anybody else, really. It's just about finding those openings as well, finding those kills, because I think if you're Empire, what you should do right now is just try and take fights together, or potentially just do what they're doing now, group up. Because in this group, if they group up, yeah, sure, they have the Gyrocopter to sort of like deal with these pushes in a sense, but it's also very difficult for them to engage on multiple targets at once, because their abilities, of course, are single target, right? So if they jump in, if they blink into this 5-man push, for example, they would have to not only coordinate properly to actually get rid of the Lincolns, but at the same time they have to deal with all these other heroes, or they probably can't deal with all these other heroes. So Empire just get 2 towers pretty much for free, I think. Looks to be that way anyway, because Effect feel hesitant to really initiate into this, and can't blame them for that, because it's very difficult to go into this.
Oh, there got the Moonlight Shadows to help with that. Who's Doom going to Doom up? Oh, we get Static Storm, but not caught inside a Kinetic Field. Let's put down the BKB course pop for Gyrocopter. They pick up Puck, though, pretty damn quickly. Gossick on the run. He got a victory out of that. You see Sidoi, though, still sitting his ground. The Rock Brush Black Cannon finally gets going. Disruptor. They Doom up Pugna off to the side. They're going to try to run him down. FN, he finally comes in. And looking to maybe pick off Bane in the back lines. They pick off Pugna, though. Down goes Bane. So a lot of trades happening right here. But, oh, that's a huge Hurricane Pike. Those impetus attacks from Aposhka doing so much damage. And numbers-wise, no doubt Empire winning that 3-2. Very chaotic fight. A lot of different separate mini-fights happening.
Yeah, I love the decision-making from Empire, though, the way they approached this fight. So what they did was they immediately focused the Puck. Puck was immediately dead. And then what they did was basically sacrificing both the Pugna and the Disruptor, because they knew they couldn't really save them. But what they could do is just, when the focus, or when Effect focuses them so much, they can take on the backlines. And that's why they were able to get the Bane and the Doom at the end there as well. So this was a pretty good fight for Empire. And again, I think it goes to show that it's very difficult for Effect to find like a really strong initiation onto this lineup, just because, you know, Empire as a group, they're very strong together, and there's a lot of single target focus on Effect side, and ooh, this might just be a dead Sidoi.
Oh yeah. That's easily a kill on him. That's a 4-kill streak stopper. Meanwhile, FN, he finds more. The sentry's put down, but he's got a lot of backup coming, so he's going to be more comfortable committing to this Vanskor. Static Storm is now up. Glimpse maybe? No, they cannot catch our Zeke. Oh, Zeke thinking about running back in. You see time-lapse is going to be used by FN there, and Enchantress gets nightmared as he goes forward.
Aposhka tried to give Vanskor the vision for a Glimpse, but unfortunately Glimpse wasn't in range for that. But yeah, the Diffusal Blade on Mirana makes it it's just very annoying to deal with, really. Obviously it's very important against the Decrepify, but the Mana Burn as well, it's just very strong against this lineup. What, 3 int heroes, and 2 of them are cores, so they rely on their mana, right?
Oh, Netherward, speaking of mana, also something to be concerned about for Effect. You see zapping a couple times right there. Going to be wearing off in about 5 seconds. Aposhka going in, finds Bane. Has a reaction, though, with a Dream Coil. King R, he's running right after Chappie. He has a Lincoln's effect on him, though, and now comes the tool on Gyrocopter once again. The BKB's not going to save him through too much physical damage from Aposhka. Impetus attacks are almost going to kill our Zeke. Managed to barely stay alive, though. They popped a Shrine at the last second. However, still only the 1 death on Gyrocopter in this fight, but FN goes up to finish tier 3. Oh, one auto attack from death. There we go. And the blast assisting. Puck just trying to delay. Waning Rift and blinks away with the Illusory Orb. Vanskor, though, he catches him, but doesn't have the Static Storm. So that will be the melee racks, though, on top of the range, and Empire can fall back, feeling accomplished here.
Again, it's so difficult to initiate in if you're Effect, and they're trying. They're really trying, but Empire's almost playing with them at this point. They're basically luring them back in, and see, they're going to get King R here as well. They have to be careful, actually, on the Effect side, that they don't get anybody else, because Duel is up again.
Yeah. We saw what happened last game. It just happened to be like one pick after the other that eventually led to the game actually finishing right there. So not going to happen in this case, but they do lose at Doom, which felt unnecessary ultimately to kind of top it all off and on top of the rack. So you have the biggest lead now, 8,000 net worth lead, but more importantly, the set of racks down at the bottom lane. A lot of reset now coming out for Empire with more firepower here.
But yeah, just to quickly get back to how Empire approached the fight. What they did was they basically never really went high ground, right? They never really gave Empire or Effect the chance to fight on a favorable turf. If anything, they always lured Effect out of their own base. They lured the Gyrocopter out of their own base, and they made sure that they were able to fight on very favorable terms, making sure they could single out Effect's heroes, if anything. And Miposhka sort of acted as some sort of like deterrent and frontline tank in a way. You know, he was always posturing himself up very aggressively, and it made it really difficult for Effect to really engage and help the gyrocopter as well. And thus he was singled out by like a dual win, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because Effects are the ones that have like a lot of like that single target focus, right? With the Fiend Scourge, with the Doom. They're usually the ones that want to do that. They want to be able to single out the target, burst them down, and immediately go to the next target. But Empire is sort of like picking them apart, and from here on out, it's just going to be more difficult with these items coming out, man. Aghanim's now on Chappie. It's going to make it really difficult to burst down anybody, because he's going to be able to like support pretty much anyone he wants to. And even the casual buckler on Disruptor is actually really, really important, because that armor makes a difference against the gyrocopter and Potom.
I just love seeing items like that, man. And it's one of those, yes, it helps that they're definitely getting further ahead, but the casual buckler, it's actually a pretty strong. Oh, FN, what a play right there to dodge the air after the time lapse. It's not going to matter, though. He still melts away. So Effect manages to find a kill on a Weaver, and now they're going to go for Roshan, which they're probably going to get. I mean, if there's a comeback mechanic in the game right now for Effect, it's no doubt something like this. You pick Weaver with no buyback. You transition into a Roshan, and they're doing exactly that. Chappie's going to come in, so it's as if they want to fight this still. This seems risky, though. Double damage on Mirana, even. Oh, the big static storm from Vanscore. It catches one. Doom is in trouble. The duel in the background. Gyrocopter again caught by it. And another winner for LC, so much for being risky. Doom is barely alive on the outside. Matt going back in. No Dream Coil just yet. Arrow's just going to fly on through. F9 going to man fight against Miposhka. Splits up with the Manta. It's killed off immediately by the overwhelming Onzo. Press the attack put on Miposhka. Amping those auto attacks, especially with the impetus. They counterward meanwhile. And they're delaying Roshan, if anything. 15 more seconds. Weaver will be back up. So it's not going to be a Roshan steal for Effect here.
Well, yeah, if anything, it's going to be Empire taking this Roshan now once Weaver comes back. And it's kind of crazy that Empire is able to take these fights, even being down a man, pretty much. But this is just, I think, Effect also not really playing well. I think they like focused so much on the Disruptor that they were split apart. And then Empire was able, well, you can take the Disruptor kill. We're just going to kill your backlines. Yeah. And then suddenly, they immediately kill the Gyrocopter.
He's going to be lifted up by the Yules. Might not get the... Oh, he still gets it. They have enough damage right there. Buyback from Doom. They know how important of a fight this is. Here we go. Caldown's going to hit multiple heroes on top of the Dream Coil. They already took out the LC. They take out Miposhka as well on the Enchantress. FN, that homing missile on top of him, but he's going to be too far away to matter. Vanscore, however, also will fall here. So a buyback from Doom. But now it's Effect's turn once again. We just have the swinging gate man back and forth, back and forth. And now they actually are going to kill Roshan and get the Aegis picked up. So Effect, they're showing they're not afraid to fight, and they are going to win this one.
To be fair, and not to take anything away from Effect, but at the same time, Empire gave them a very favorable fight. They fought in front of the in front of the shrine, like a choke point kind of scenario where they. Oh, what an arrow.
That arrow actually hit him. He ran back into it. I can't blame him, but man, what an arrow by F9 right there. And another kill. But you're right. I mean, it's just forcing that in the first place as much as they did with the LC jumping in on that high ground. It did seem unnecessary.
I do think it was unnecessary, and they basically gave Empire or Effect pretty much the best fight they could have asked for. You know, they're grouped up. There was like a 4-man coil, I think, or 3-man coil, and then of course the call down on top of it. It was just the perfect fight for Effect. But I think if you're Empire, you should still feel somewhat safe. You're still ahead, of course. You take a lane of racks, and yeah, sure, you lose the tower and the Roshan, but at the same time, you know, FN immediately preventing any further pushes. So there's nothing more that Empire or Effect can really get out of this, especially because the other lanes are pushed out as well, of course. So if you're Empire, you just wait out the Aegis ideally, and then you go from there again. You just cannot feel discouraged just because of that. You have to play to the strengths of your lineup, and their lineup is still pretty damn strong.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Empire should feel like, oh, we're throwing this game away by any means just yet, but definitely giving openings to Effect to, if anything, stay alive here at this game number 2. Empire with that 1-0 series lead so far, remember. But you do have some decent items coming out for the Radiant side to talk about. Enchantress, that Ags is almost finished, and unlike a lot of heroes, in this case it's a very good damage amp for Enchantress, how it affects the impetus, of course. So that's going to be a nice tool from her, and definitely got to respect her damage output. And then you have Weaver, the Maelstrom, and BKB is going to come along. So that's going to be a nice answer to whenever he does happen to get jumped, maybe the Dream Coil lockdown, all of a sudden the BKB will prevent that from actually being too useful.
Yeah, especially since the way that FN has been playing right now, or the past couple of fights, is oftentimes he uses Lincoln Sphere on other targets or on teammates, in fact, and doesn't even use it for himself that much, because it's more valuable in, say, the LC, so that if she does get jumped, she can't get Nightmare, she can't get Fiend Script, or even Doomed or whatever. And having that BKB on top just provides him with much more survivability. Like I said, you know, against the puck, it's really important to not get silenced, to not get Dream Coiled, and it just makes him very annoying to deal with in those fights, because there's practically nothing to really keep him in place. You know, BKB Lincoln's on top. It's very difficult to really lock down, and it has to be really, really coordinated. And, you know, Fiend Script, yeah, it technically goes through BKB, but there's so many ways of canceling it that it's going to be really difficult to really... actually, you know, now that I think about it, there's actually, I guess, only the duel and the silence from the Disruptor to really deal with the Fiend Script. That could potentially be something, you know, to sort of like change the outcome of a fight. But at the same time, Bane is very squishy, so killing him during Fiend Script isn't necessarily difficult either.
Yeah, there is also the Enchantress creeps, whatever she happens to have, of course, a couple of different ways
to
help stop that in the fight. But yeah, this is a game where Bane and Fiend's Grip is pretty powerful, and you do have the Glimmer Cape on him as well. So the Fiend's Grip on paper should potentially be actually pretty strong this game here from him, considering how it usually seems like it is, especially. So Pugna, his own Lincolns is coming, and I feel like that's almost just like a backup Lincolns to even throw on somebody else as well. Also for himself, of course, but a lot of ways you can use both of these Lincoln Spheres that they will have in this game to throw on certain heroes, whichever feels necessary in these fights. BKB on LC, hold 10 seconds. Good to go for him. Marana has his own BKB, though, and 3,600 gold saved up, actually. Still has that Aegis. Not going to be for much longer, though.
I think one issue going forward for Empire is that they're investing a lot of items into, or a lot of gold into... Oh, top lane. Looks like that might just be dead puck now.
Yeah, no Lincolns just yet, and that Doom comes out, and he's dead.
One issue going forward for Empire that I see is that they're investing a lot of items into defensive items. You know, they have, they're going to have 2 Lincolns, they're going to have 2 BKBs. Whereas if you look at the fact side, yeah, they also have a BKB in the Gyrocopter, but at the same time, there's, and on the Marana as well, right? But they have just naturally a lot more physical damage. And I think, what's that? No, Bane should survive. But if, for example, the Doom ever picks up an AC, right? If he ever picks up an AC, it's going to be very difficult for Empire to deal a lot of physical damage, because they're a Legion Commander. I guess she has the dual damage. That's basically it.
Look at our Zeke right here. He's locking down a couple. Bind Timers, teammates are coming. Duels put up from the Legion Commander on a Doom, but that might be a victory for Doom. It is a winner for Doom right there, as the response is too much. Miposhka got the kill on Doom in the end, but again, still a minor victory, if anything, for Effect. They also lose Bane. They got Disruptor. Pugna still remaining dead for another 20 seconds. Enchantress, that Dream Coil is going to keep her in place, and that's also going to be killing her too. A triple kill for Sidoi. That was old Bane right there. He nightmared the LC, he Fiend's Grip Disruptor, and basically said, I'm going to set up this fight. I may die because of this, but everyone just started mass TPing in, and we saw the long result right there after the Pugna initial pick. So another victory for Effect, and they really are hanging in this game very well here.
So 2 misplays from FN. First of all, he could have taken off the Nightmare of the LC. LC could have used the overwhelming, press the attack on the Bane, on the Disruptor, and then they're fine. Then they're totally fine. They duel the Bane, probably get a duel win. Yeah, they probably still die to the rotation home effect, but still, right? That was the first misplay. The second misplay was not attacking the Doom. That was a beautiful static storm from the Disruptor on top of everybody, and he attacked the Bane, who was getting the kill on the Disruptor anyway. So. I mean, yeah, Doom, Disruptor, and Legion Commander probably still die in both scenarios, but at least they get the dual win and potentially the kill in the Doom. This way they got neither, and I think this is definitely on FN. He should have, you know, either one of those decisions would have been better than what he did end up doing. So this is just a fact, banking on, you know, these mistakes. Oh,
LC, he's going in. Doom, again, going to be the target, and this time it will be more than enough damage. Oh, maybe not that Nightmare. Have Bane interaction with the Nightmare on duels. Pretty strong. He still got the winner in the end. They also pick off Bane himself, actually, but BKB's going off of multiple heroes. Chappie, he's trying to stay alive. The life drain could be canceled initially, and it will not be enough heal to actually keep him alive. FN, time lapse away, going back in. Sidoi is going to be caught because of that. The dust comes out to expose them through the moonlight shadows. So 3 for 1 in this fight. And Mag and Alpha Ninja, Ninja, however you want to say it, he gets back into the base. So definitely a victory for Empire, and that's got to feel good for them with the way this game was starting to turn a little bit.
Oh, for sure, and they might even be able to force out a buyback of Jarkop. I'm not sure they can because they're very low in general, and they can't really push in just yet. But actually, no, it doesn't seem like they will be able to. A bit unfortunate for them. Ideally, after such a team fight, you want to convert it into an objective. Yeah, they're going to get the shrine, but that doesn't really mean too much in terms of map control. So this is not, I guess, I mean, it's still great for them. Like you said, you know, they definitely need this as a sort of like confidence booster and like sort of like swinging the momentum around and getting a bit of net worth as well on top of it. And getting the Jarkop off the map is really important because in that fight, he showed that he's actually really strong. And if they have a head-on fight, Jarkop versus Weaver, Weaver might actually lose that. Like, they only got the Gyrocopter because he was sort of left alone. He had to retreat, and he got slowed, and it was a 2-on-1 more so than anything. But this Gyrocopter hurts a lot. So this is definitely something they have to look out for going forward.
You do see FN getting a double damage rune, but also... Oh, they're going to find Doom, by the way. Is LC nearby? He is not. So no victory for him. But, oh, as I say that, there he is. He pops out of nowhere, it seems like. And he finds Puck, so... That's true.
Puck drops the gem. Bit of a questionable decision from Mag to just pass by them. Like, this is a Puck. He could have easily just stayed in the tree line, blinked further, orbed away or something. But what he did was just like walk past them. He's like, all right, you killed the Doom. I'm just gonna go home. But of course they wouldn't let him. And with that, they have a wave that's pushing in top as well. So potentially they can force a buyback here. You definitely want to force a buyback here. You don't want to just get those kills and not convert it into anything.
Well, this is what I was going to talk about, too. Level 25 just hit on Weaver. So that means he is insanely fast now when he uses that Shikuchi. And that is a very, very good tool for him. He's going to be locked down by the Nightmare right here. Camera's going funky. Apologize. Anyways, homing missile on him. So he still has time lapse, though, and he's just going to Shikuchi away. So that homing missile will slowly fly in and eventually be killed. They deny the top tower, but really that doesn't matter. The point is, it is dead, which is good for Empire. Now that exposes the shrines. Again, they're doing this without an Aegis, but they're still feeling confident. Puck dead for another 10 seconds. They have the gem also just in case. FN, time lapses one direction, gets away from Doom. Doom goes in, he gets it to him off. They need to protect him. Press the attack, gonna be a start. He's still taking plenty of damage, though. He gets hit by the homing missile, and they're gonna lose Weaver in the long run, so he's dead now. And now it's the Dyer's team to fight them as Akira Glimpse pulling somebody back. Magostic, another homing missile being channeled. He's a little bit too far away, though, up here. They also find the kill on Disruptor, and they also find Chappie. Oh, boy, that's a... I'm slapping my forehead right now. Empire, they went a little bit too much there. They did not necessarily need to push. Again, doing it without the Aegis made that clear at the very beginning of that. Should have been happy with the Tier 3.
Yeah, once the Puck was back, they should have just retreated, really. Given away 3 kills, and as a result, also, of course, the Roshan and the Aegis. Yeah, they get a lot of damage onto those Raxes, but that doesn't really mean a lot against the lineup. Like, effects, they have the Mirana, they have the Jackrop to deal with these waves, and even if they had gotten those Rax, I'm not sure it would have been worth it as well. So this is definitely an issue for Empire. If we look at the net worth and experience graph, definitely going down. Experience actually in favor of effect again. Net worth, it's what, a 5,000 lead for Empire? That doesn't really deal.
No, it's only a 1,000. If you look at the top there, that's the actual updated right now.
Well, yeah. If you look at the top there, it's just 1,000 pretty much. But if you know team net worth in comparison, that's just 5,000 advantage for effect for Empire. So doesn't really mean too much. And in fact, they might even get this tier 3 and potentially Rax because they're not going to buy back on 20 seconds. Even if they had buybacks, they wouldn't buy back. So.
Oh my God, those impetus. If it wasn't for that cheese, he is absolutely dead, but they're going still, actually. Disruptor's going to be found. Mirana, though, is going to end up falling. That will be the Aegis use. Chappie's back in, and so is FN. So now this is scary for Effect. Are they overstepping their boundaries? Maybe not. A little bit of help from Puck. Throwing out the Dream Coil keeps them away. And the TPs are successful for Effect. So they do lose the Aegis. They get tier 3, though. Going to open up those shrines, of course. We'll see if they eventually get to doing those, but still a lot of work to be done. This is definitely still a case where it's anyone's game, especially after a fight like that. But
once more, I'm not entirely sure if this was a worthy trade. Aegis for a tier 3 tower. I almost think they could have gotten that tier 3 without committing the Aegis for it. And the cheese on top, like you said. You know, they even had to use the cheese as well. So, yeah, a little bit iffy for effect, but still, getting that tier 3 is something at least. And as you mentioned, they can take those shrines later on as well. So that's definitely something. It's going to make it easier as well to take or contest Roshan if they get rid of that shrine. So, for a fact, these couple of minutes definitely have been good, but they probably need something more. Wouldn't be surprised if they maybe try to smoke up soon once their ultimates are back up, and then try and do something. But as I say that, looks like Empire are the ones to look to force the fight here.
Yeah, the no Aegis is down. But again, back to what I said before they were doing this, they do not have the Aegis themselves, and the jump, especially Doom, is clearly a threat right here. He can take off the Lincolns by himself with the Purge. And if he gets that Doom up on either Chappie or FN, it's a big... There we go. Chappie's going to be doomed up. He's going to die here right off the bat, so they lose their Pug. They need to retreat. LC's also locked down. They're still kind of fighting, though. Fanscrew's still hanging around. FN's realizing, okay, this is a lost cause. He just gets the hell on out of here. Maposhka going to try to Hurricane Pike away, but that's not going to get him too far. And that's another kill. This Doom is clearly proven to be a fantastic pick for effect. Every single fight.
FN is doing the right thing, trying to push out the mid wave here. With the gem, he might even be able to get a kill on Arzik here. But I almost want to say they had vision over this. I would have to look at the replay, but I'm sure somebody pinged it out as well that, hey guys, they literally just used Potem's ultimate. And then FN still walks up there. I'm not sure what happened there. Or, sorry, Chappie still walked up there, so maybe they didn't see it after all. Either way, very good for effect here. And Empire now pretty much, like, the net worth, like, the team net worth is pretty much drawing even now.
I know this game could definitely still go either way, if anything, but I personally would almost start leaning towards effect now. I mean, I know they got the net worth lead, so it's not even crazy to suggest that, but this Doom, they have no answer to the Doom. I think it's the biggest thing. It seems like he can get his ulti off on either Chappie or FN every single fight, and they can't do anything about it. I mean, what's the play around, right? Like, they don't have this beefy frontliner that can just stand in the front and at least tank the tower or kind of be that one that's, you know, taking the attention, if anything. Right now, it's really the Pugna, but that's, of course, you don't want to be doing that. As we saw the last fight, if he's up there, he gets doomed up quickly, and then he just dies shortly after, essentially doing nothing in the fight. So you're losing out on a lot of net worth if that's the case. It just seems like to me the Empire is almost losing out on what they can truly do in these fights.
To me, the main issue for Empire right now is that they are the ones that are getting initiated upon. If they're the ones that are getting if they're the ones getting initiated upon, they usually lose out because, like you said, if they get doomed, they pretty much have to forfeit the fight or have to forfeit the hero that gets doomed. Because especially if it's the Pugna, there's basically no way of saving that hero. Usually, what they could do if somebody does get doomed, you know, they support him with the life drain, or I guess the opposite of the life drain. By, you know, sustaining the target and potentially even, you know, press the attack. They have ways of sort of like countering the Doom, but they're never in a position to do so because they're always getting caught by surprise. And I think Empire just has to be the team to initiate, really. They have to find a kill with a duel, because with a duel they can definitely burst somebody down and take them out of the fight. So this is definitely something you have to do. But it's really difficult at this stage of the game because effect, the way they're posturing themselves, they're always going to be in a position where it's difficult to initiate, right? It's difficult to just jump into the base, jump high ground and try and find a kill.
Yeah.
Because you don't really have the vision to support it either. So I think they almost have to wait for the Aegis, because that is definitely a component that they didn't have in that earlier push, like you pointed out. If they had it, would have been a completely different fight. And Van Score, oh! A second. One more second and he gets stunned there.
Not even. 0.25 seconds.
Yeah.
Not only some of the arrow, but Dreamcoil's also... I mean, they had several ways to stop him, but he just happened to be behind the tree. Again, it would have just been a disruptor, but still so close. And this is going to be an item that will help that cause, to be fair. Disruptor, one of these supports where if he's able to get that Axe, it can definitely change the game. Very, very powerful tool for these fights. Oh, FN's running into them! Oh, no! He is in trouble. He gets doomed up. He's Fiend's Grip. This is another kill on FN, no doubt. At least he has a buyback, but very likely going to have to be used. Again, Weaver just simply getting caught. A hero that's usually so difficult to catch. Key times in these fights. Van's going to be run down. He's dead for 50 seconds now. And they're also going to get Enchantress. Call down on him, press the attack. Oh, the nice force tap over the ledge, but they're going to chase into the base. Maybe not the best call. BKB's activated. There's a buyback on FN, and they are ready to fight now. So that BKB on Alpha Ninja pops the Moonlight Shadows, and they're running as a team.
Unfortunately for Empire, they don't have any Invis detection anymore. They already popped the dust earlier, and they lost the gem, of course, earlier on FN. If they had Invis detection there, I'm sure they blink in, duel somebody, and try and force a fight there, because Effect pretty much used all their abilities already. But yeah, just to come back to that Weaver movement there, he pinged out that they smoked up. He pinged out he knew, but he played it too cocky. He was like, alright, I'm going to dispel the smoke. There was no point in doing that. Because even if he gets away there, what does he accomplish? He doesn't really accomplish anything. I guess he like discourages the smoke, but you can also discourage the smoke by just like drawing back, retreating, and then letting them waste the time while you split the map because you know where they are. But that was just a little bit cocky, a little bit arrogant, I think. And it cost him his life, it cost him his buyback as well. And now they need the Aegis more so than ever. But unfortunately for them, because it's such a long Aegis respawn, or, I mean, it's not even long respawn, you know, just Roshan respawn, all the abilities on the Effect side are going to be up again. So the next fight, Effect will have every ability up, and as we've seen now in the past couple of fights, Empire cannot take this head on. They have to sort of like pick them apart.
Blade finished on Gyrocopter. That's a really interesting build from him. Obviously the Satanic first, but now the Blade even picked up. So a lot of burst has also the possibility of making himself immune if necessary, of course. It's just funny seeing that, though. The Butterfly on Mirana, meanwhile, and the level 2 Diffusal Blade is also going to be ready and queued up, ready to go. But again, is Empire really thinking about making a play here without Roshan? It seems like by now they would have learned their lesson, that they should probably wait for that. Not that it would be a guarantee-free Roshan by any means, but there's no way that they can push it.
I think Empire are just waiting for a mistake on Effect's part. They postured themselves up high ground. They're waiting for somebody to maybe walk up there and like make a mistake, really. I don't think Empire are in a position whatsoever to force high ground, to siege whatsoever. Not without the Aegis, and I think they were just waiting for a pickoff, and with that pickoff they can immediately transition it into Roshan. But because it didn't get it, I'm not even sure they can contest Roshan, to be honest. I think they have to, but I'm not sure they are in a position to do so. I think Effect, the way they've been playing, you know, they're posturing themselves very nicely. They're always together. They're never really apart or split. And that just makes it really difficult for Empire to initiate.
Also noticing some level 25s. We've already. This was a very fast Roshan spawn, by the way. He spawned like immediately after he could have spawned. So they are going to start poking in, but yeah.
They're not contesting this.
I mean, they don't know what's happening just yet. They're going in,
yeah.
But it's a very quick Roshan kill. Double damage helping with that. There's the call down. FN picks up the Aegis, and now Sidoi realizing it was a trap all along. Impetus attacks. Not going to be enough. He gets away. Nice Glimmer Cape there at the last second. LC still going in. Takes off the Lincolns. Can't get close enough, though. He's going to be nightmared out. Meanwhile, over here, they lose Doom. That's big. Obviously, he's a key target to kill if you're this Radiant side. Now he has a buyback. But this is an opening now for Empire, once again, that they have an Aegis.
Force it out for sure.
Exactly. Get the buyback used, if anything.
Unfortunately for them, the wave was pushed in really far back. They're going to get there with, like, what, 40 seconds perhaps left on the buyback. And I think Effect can hold this for 40 seconds, especially since Alpha Ninja is pushing at the top wave, making sure they don't get pushed in there. And if anything, Empire might even lose its tier 2.
Okay.
As I say that, Doom just buys back immediately.
It's just not even going to wait. Just like, all right, maybe a fight. Let's just go.
They just killed the creep that Alpha Ninja was going to TP on. This is huge, actually.
And actually, the glimpse. Okay, BKB going to be activated to prevent that. Arzeek, he's going to be locked down by the duel. That's, well, it's not really happening due to Nightmare, but eventually goes off and the winner comes out. Gyrocopter, Blades on himself. That life drain, though. Well, that was actually the Decrepify, I guess. But point is, Gyrocopter, he is dying to this, and he has a buyback, but he does go down. They picked up the Disrupt in the backlines. The Doom goes up on a Pugna, but FN falls. Remember, he had the Aegis, however. Doesn't have to worry about Doom, though. Chappie falling back. That Doom DPS is so much. FN's still in trouble. The auto attack damage is so much. From Mirana especially, they do kill Chappie. FN, another Shikuchi. Can they hunt him down? The arrow's coming out. It's not going to connect, though. And FN should be able to actually escape.
No, they're still hunting this. Alpha Ninja TPing to the troops on top. He might find him.
Arrows on 5 seconds.
All right, he should be getting out of there.
Now he's good. You look at the base. Tier 4 goes down, by the way.
That was a huge misplay at Alpha Ninja's part. I think there might have been a misclick. He might have not looked where he was going to TP to, but because he has BOTs, he clicked onto the creep. I think he wanted to TP onto the base or into the racks, and they immediately spawned. The creep spawned, and then he accidentally clicked on the creep. Either way, he TP onto the creep, that creep dies, and Empire immediately knows. He literally was just pushing top. We have to go in now. So he takes a lot of time to get back in there, and Empire in the meantime clean up house. They may not have gotten racks, but they've gotten them down pretty significantly, and they of course get those kills. They force a buyback onto the gyrocopter as well. Still, I think for a fact they almost salvaged that fight, almost get the kill into the Weaver, get the Aegis at least, so that's pretty huge.
Caustic, he's lining up right here. They're going to go on F9 to take off the Lincolns. There's a duel up. The Mantis not going to save him, and Doom can't do a damn thing. He doesn't even have his ultimate ready to go. It's going to be a winner for LC once again, and she's dead for 95 seconds. So as you mentioned, they've already bought back on both Gyrocopter and Doom himself. They're very likely going to need to do it on Mirana now. As this chase continues, FN, he finds our Zeker. The Static Storm going off. Gossic's going to assist, so they kill Bane. Sonoy pops a BKB. It's only 5 seconds, though, not the longest. They also got Puck in that Static Storm. Gossick made it fall right here. Press the attack, the Blade Mail. Return damage, Sonoy. He'll be fine for now from the impetus attacks due to being immune currently. But Sonoy, and one more. Oh, he gets it off. And no, it's not going to be enough for the Moonlight Shadows. That life drain. Life drain caught him, and he's no buyback. 120 seconds once again. F09, he bought back, remember, too. And Empire, they're cleaning up. They kill Doom for a dieback. If F09 goes down, this is 100% over. This is their last stand. The glimpse back. That is over. GG, well played. It's called, and Empire will take this game and the series.
Oh, God.
Just like that.
That was one of the worst throws I've seen in a couple. No, look, it's not even that they had like a huge advantage that they threw away, but it was just so stupid. Empire or Effect was crawling back into the game, and they've done a really good job at taking good fights throughout most of the game. And then they like one mistake from FNG not like TPing to the creep, and then another mistake, him sieging high ground without an Aegis, without anything. Bane wasn't there, Puck wasn't there, so there was no point in sieging high ground in the first place. He dies, and then they still choose to take that fight. They buy back on 2 heroes. They still choose to take that fight. Super split, and that's the best way for Empire to take that fight. Like, Effect weren't even fighting as 5. They were like mini fights all over the place, and that's the best way for Empire to approach the fight. And honestly, Effect, I think they didn't reward themselves for like a really strong game. I think Effect, if they had won this game, you mentioned it earlier, that wouldn't have surprised us at all, right? The way they played, the way they were ahead at some point even, they should have won this game potentially even. Like the way they took this game, but 2 very stupid mistakes cost them this game. Pretty much like the first game as well, actually, in that sense. So yeah, this is very frustrating to watch. Like I'm not even rooting for Effect, but it's just really frustrating to watch.
I definitely think it's justified because there's no doubt there was some sloppy decisions on both sides. Empire, obviously, with their decision to try to really force those tier 3 top pushes several times and completely backfiring, giving the openings to Effect. But yeah, no doubt Effect had chances that game to win this one and force a third and final game. But due to some poor decisions, it's once again, I think the best way to put it. But I will say it just continues to be the theme of this event specifically. So SkinCoin WCA, we're getting just so many back and forth swing matches, and like I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's the best play we've ever seen, because it's not. It's definitely some sloppy play that we've seen amongst a lot of teams here in this event, and chaotic, and whether or not it's because it's not necessarily a minor or major and teams aren't taking it quote-unquote as seriously, who knows, but we're definitely getting this theme of a lot of sloppy play. But there is some entertainment value there, no doubt.
Oh, for sure. And, here, I mean, nobody plays perfect, right? Even on like the highest level at TI, we still see a lot of mistakes, obviously, but it's just, I think there's like a lot of like very basic mistakes that maybe come down to communication. You know, who maybe somebody said something like go high ground or something. Maybe somebody said, yeah, let's fight, and even though they're not even there, I don't know. There's a lot of like basic mistakes and flaws here and there. It's just really frustrating to see. Like, I think you see Effect play really well for like 30, 40 minutes, right? They pretty much do what they have to do to actually win this game after like a horrendous laning stage, and then they basically throw it all away in like 2 minutes. It's just very frustrating to see. I'm pretty sure everybody has played Dota themselves and has been in a position where that has happened. I sure have been in a position like that, so I know that it can be really frustrating. I feel for Effect that they are now in such a position. But as a spectator as well, it just is really frustrating to watch because they played so well. And not to take anything away from Empire. Empire also played really well, but almost feels like they shouldn't have taken the victory as easily as they just took it now. I feel like there should have been a bit more hard fought.
Oh, yeah, no, both games kind of finished that way, too, when you remember back to Game 1. Again, just all of a sudden kind of just snowballed off of one pick into the next and the next, and about 30 seconds later, the game's over. So similar to this one where just when you feel like effect, okay, yet another swing in their favor, pick after pick, and before you know it, no buybacks, and thus the game is over. So similar stories there. But what we have, guys, is a result, and it's 2-0 for Empire. And so like I said, not only do they guarantee themselves a land spot here for the SkinCoin WCA, but they also guarantee them a spot in the finals for this playoff portion and a chance to compete for their share of that $50,000 prize pool, which I was breaking it down. It's in a different currency, but translated over, I believe it's about $7,500 for what will be third place. Second place is $15,000, and then first place about $30,000 or so. So you kind of doubles up from each spot right there. So they have the chance to play for what could be $30,000 here in this final matchup coming up. So obviously, you know, fairly big deal in that sense here. Some good money to play for. Now, with that in mind, Effect is not 100% out of it just yet. They are in a third place match, and we'll be competing for then, like I just pointed out there, what's $7,500. Where fourth place actually gets nothing in the end. So it's kind of winner takes all in that match, and we'll see who they go up against. But our next series is set to happen here in the very near future. In fact, the default time is basically now, so I'm sure the lobby is going to be set up here, and that series will be Hellraisers versus Kingwin here to see who will play Empire in the finals and who will match up against Effect in the third place match. But Skim, I believe that's going to do it for you after the first series here. So once again, I always want to thank you for joining me. Great job. Any shout-outs, any last words from yourself?
No, thanks for having me. Actually, I guess a little bit of a shout-out to WCA. There's a lot of things you can criticize about them, but the fact that they pay out money for qualifiers is something that I admire, and I hope that this is going to become a standard at some point. I know they're the only tournament that does it, or pretty much the only tournament that does it, but I think it's such a huge deal, actually. Yeah, if you qualify to an event, you already sort of get money, so the winner should maybe not get anything, but the fact that second and third place still get something for their time investment, I think that's really, really important for the sustainability of the scene. So huge shout out to them, even though, again, there's a lot of things I don't agree with that WCA does, but this is definitely something that I think they do really well, and I hope that some tournament organizers adopt, because we really need more money and more like sustainability in the scene, and this is the way to do it.
SkinCoin WCA, guys, if you type !SkinCoin in chat, you can get information on the giveaway that's currently going on. Also, if you go to skincoin.org, you can check out the latest cryptocurrency on the esports market. You can trade in your favorite Dota 2 and even CSGO skins. Again, guys, that is skincoin.org. Well, I'm BreakyCPK. I was joined by Skim here. Like I said, we're going to take a short break. We got our next series coming up. Kingwin versus Hellraisers here. That should be definitely a solid best of 3. Looking forward to that one, guys. Sit tight. We'll be back. Game 1 of that series coming up next.